welcome. We're so glad you're here at the ThemeBuilder webinar today. We're really excited to talk you through some of the wonderful ways that you can style your user interfaces easier and faster than ever before. My name is Kathryn Grayson Nanz. I'm a developer advocate here at Progress, and I'm going to kick it over to my friend Stefan here to get us going.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stefan, and I'm the product manager of ThemeBuilder. And I'm very happy today to share with you how we started the product and how this product can help you make your styling experience faster and easier than before. Before we start, we just want to ask you a very fast question about who you are, who we are, and how we can proceed with our styling journey today.
All right, so you should see a poll come up that will let you select one of the following for what your role is on your team. So a backend full stack developer, front-end developer, designer, an architect, or something else, something entirely in between. And if you click that other button, we would love to hear it in the chat to kind of hear what your role is, because we know there's some others out there, UX engineers and some other things that might not be covered. All right, I'm seeing the numbers come in now. Let's see. Currently in the lead, backend or full stack developers around 60% roughly. When it's done, I'll share the results and we'll be able to see it. I'm going to leave this open for just a few more seconds, let everyone get their answers in. All right. As we can see here, a little over half at backend or full stack, about 15%, 17% full stack, or front end, 8% designers, which is exciting. That was my background as well. So I'm glad y'all are here. 7% architects and 13% in the other, which I'm very curious about. All right, Stefan, you ready to talk us through what we can find in the ThemeBuilder?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. So first, we want to, when we started making the ThemeBuilder, we are coming from the position where we, in our company, usually have to work with developers, designers, front-end engineers a lot. And we know that it usually developers get styling requirements or mockups from the design team or from their customers or internal teams. And this process of pretty much giving the designs, styling the components and everything can take a lot of back and forth, can take you hours or even days, depending on the size of the project that you're working, and pretty much distract you or take precious time from these important business requirements that you are coding on the client, on the server, and everything in between. And many of the times, this is pretty much like repeated work. You have to style the button again and again for different applications, for different projects, and this can also take you a very long time. And the other thing is that all of this styling with CSS, SAS, or different styling language, it requires very in-depth knowledge of these styling languages in order to make very detailed customization to the components. Usually, if you just have to change a color or two, it's not that complex, but if you have to make very detailed changes to match your design system or style guide, then it gets trickier and trickier going forward. And also, we want to tell you what you'll be getting after you finish this presentation today. Because after you see all of the demos and everything, you'll be ready to tackle your design and styling requirements. You know what the ThemeBuilder can help you with and how you can start using the ThemeBuilder, which is very easy, it's very straightforward, and you have easy steps how you can proceed forward after the webinar. I want to start here with telling you which are the pretty much top features that we have added to the ThemeBuilder that can help you make your styling changes easier and easier. The first thing that we have in the ThemeBuilder is pretty much a global customization. This is making fundamental changes to the applications, like changing the primary color, changing the typography, and changing things like border radiuses. This thing, it's done with just a few clicks, and you can update pretty much all of the components with simple interactions. On another level, from the global customization, we go to the atomic customization, which is pretty much giving you the ability to go to all of the details of the components. For example, you can change the icon color of the button only when it's in hover state. So that is a very deep customization. So we allow you to go from global to atomic customization very easy with the same tool. Also, to help you do all of this, we give you custom Sass or CSS variables. So pretty much, you know, from developing application, how very easy it is to use different types of variables so you can control multiple things from one place. We give you the same things into the ThemeBuilder. And the good thing is that you can use these custom variables on the global customization. So you can pretty much set your own variables for things like primary colors, secondary colors, etc. But you can also set variables for these small customizations, like the color of the icon, the padding of the button, the margin of the input, things like this. And on top of that, we also give you the ability to save and store your projects. Into the previous ThemeBuilder, you can pretty much go, make your changes, download the theme, and once you close the browser, everything was lost. You have to do and do it again when a new version comes out, again and again. But with the new ThemeBuilder, every project is safe in your account. So you have access to that project. We have changes, so you can do undo or redo your changes, so you can keep track of the things that you have done the last time you open the project. And the good thing is that you can also share and collaborate with your teammates. Once you create the team, you can share the project with your colleagues, you can collaborate with them. And one of the best things is this multiplayer feature where you can be with your teammates at the same time in the same project. So for example, I can be styling the button component at the same time Kathryn can be styling the input component or the drop component. And there will be no conflicts between our changes, and we can do it together and save time and improve productivity on a very high level. Also, to further improve the productivity and the collaboration part is the ability to import from Figma. This is something that Kathryn will show you later on during the demo. It's the ability to get all of your styles like colors, typographies, and effects directly from Figma to the ThemeBuilder. So you don't have to manually go inspect the colors, see what the color the designer has used, what effect they have used, what typography with what fonts. You can directly take that from Figma into the ThemeBuilder and start incorporating it to your project. And we even have more features than these two. These are just the highlights. We also have custom fonts and icons, so you can upload your custom fonts directly into the tool. For example, we know that many developers don't have a designer on their team, so they're not taking any designs from Figma, but they still have to use a specific fonts, specific icons that are used in the company. You can create your custom color palettes. Also for enterprises, we have signal sign-on. So you have a secure way to log into the application with your enterprise credentials without maintaining multiple logins for the tool. And we also have the ability to share the project with specific user access rights. For example, we know that in many teams, many companies, you want to share the project with multiple people, but you don't want every one of them to have access to the project in terms of editing it, deleting it, sharing with other people. You just want them to, let's say, review the project. So you have the ability to share the project with view, edit, or admin rights. So that's something that can give you more security and more flexibility when working with your projects. All of these features that I have mentioned here will show you in a live demo just in the next few minutes. And the outcome when using the ThemeBuilder has impact on multiple roles into a company. It has impact to developers that are tasked with satisfying the application requirements. They don't want to spend a large amount of time with communications and back and forth with the design team, or just customizing these very little parts of the components. They can do this very fast in the tool without pretty much any CSS knowledge, because the tool is it's a no-code tool, so you can just write in the editors without using any code. Also, it can help team leads to better plan and meet functional and styling requirements. The good thing here is that our ThemeBuilder, it's go on top of the unified rendering that we have for our components. What that means is that once you create the theme in the ThemeBuilder, you can use it across projects for Blazor, Angular, React, Vue, jQuery, MVC, and Core without creating a new theme. That's a great productivity boost for teams that are working on multiple frameworks, on multiple projects that are based on the same style guide. So you can do it once and use it on multiple applications. And another thing that is good for the designers as well is that first, they have a way to go into the tool, see what the actual components are, not just the designs, but the actual components. And because it's a visual tool that requires no coding knowledge, the designers can go into the tool and start styling the components themselves. The benefit here is that usually in tools like Figma, Adobe XD, etc., the designer has a full freedom to pretty much do whatever they want with the styling of the elements. They have unlimited capabilities to style the components. Where in the HTML and the programming languages, you have some restrictions to what you can actually do with a component in terms of HTML and CSS. And when the designers go into the tool, they can feel and see these limitations and know what is actually possible, and save numbers of back and forth between designers and developers, requesting some styling changes, developer saying, hey, I cannot actually do this in the code. Can we change it a little bit? So designers can directly see what's possible, and that is very, very helpful. This is a feedback that we hear a lot from our current customers, that this is saving them valuable time, and designers can really understand what developers can do with the components. And now I want to give the floor to Kathryn to show you all of this in action, and not just taking slides. It's better to see it in action.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it. That was a great overview. So I'm going to go ahead and jump us right in. What we're looking at right now is the ThemeBuilder app. This is the dashboard. I've just logged in, and so this is what you will first see. I've got a couple of existing projects here, but for our purposes, we're going to go ahead and create a new project. So I'm going to call this webinar demo. And we have the option here to choose from several of our base themes. You can see that includes several that align with very popular design systems already, things like Bootstrap, Material, or Fluent. So if that's something that you're already using and you just want to tweak a couple colors or change out a font, it's super easy to do so. In our case, though, we're just going to keep it with our good old-fashioned Kendo default. So we will go ahead and create that project. And this is what you'll see when it first loads. So we're looking right now at every single one of our components in the live preview panel. So in addition to just being kind of a visual representation, we can actually click on these, interact with them, see how they work, right? So it's not just a situation where we're seeing colors change in kind of a picture style, right? We can actually look and see how things will change when we hover when we click. So as we're changing those styles, we can see it, again, not just in the default state, but in every different interaction state. Along this side here in the column, we have our theme styles. So if you wanted to just go ahead and make some changes again to colors, it's easy enough to pop this open. You can choose from the color selection window here, and we'll see that update in real time. Or of course, you can type in a specific hex code if you already know your brand colors or any of that kind of thing. But one of the coolest features that I want to show you today is our Figma import. So as we can see over here, I've switched us over. We're now in Figma. This is showing our Figma kits and one that I have gone in and restyled to kind of fit a very different looking design system, right? So I've changed some fonts, I've changed some colors. All of that is reflected in the Figma design tokens that we can see here in the right-hand sidebar. But this is all just in the design software right now, and I would really like to just put it into my application. So we're going to go ahead and export these styles, these tokens from Figma into ThemeBuilder, and then assign them to our components, and then export those as code. So the first thing I'm going to do is swap over here to my plugins panel, and I'm going to export styles. So it'll go ahead and launch that plugin for me in just a moment. Thinking about it. I'll get this window here that will prompt me to log in. So it says, yep, I'm logged in. I can pop right back. And now it'll give me a list of every ThemeBuilder project so that I can choose which one I want to export these styles into. We'll click the webinar demo one that I just created, and it'll give me the option if I wanted to isolate any of these components, right, or any of these variables that we use in the components. So for example, if I only wanted to import colors and I wanted to exclude all of the typography, I could do that quickly. In our case though, I'll go ahead and leave everything. So we'll click the export, it'll zip that bar across and tell us that design styles have been successfully exported. We'll hop back over here, and you can see already that all of our Figma tokens have been added with this Figma prefix. So now, to make sure that everything lines up exactly the way the designer, me, made them in Figma, we can go ahead over to our theme colors and just do a quick search. You do have to spell Figma correctly, unfortunately. So let me give this, let me do a quick refresh so this shows up. All right. Now, when we search Figma, we start to get some results, like Figma primary. So I can go ahead and quickly adjust all of these theme colors, right? So Kendo primary will assign to Figma primary. Figma secondary. I'll just do a few of these so you don't have to watch me type. Figma info. Enough that we'll see. I'll just do these quick theme colors. Figma success. Because all of these align already with the variables that we're using in the component libraries. So if for whatever reason you wanted to go ahead and change these manually, you could open up any of our components, you could define these Sass variables, and they would just work because the naming is exactly the same in our ThemeBuilder theme variables, in our Figma kit theme variables, and in the actual Sass variables. And of course, we'll change our background because who doesn't like dark mode? So now, I've changed my component background too. We'll give that actually like a gray. I'll do that one manually. So we can see just like that, I've already significantly changed the look and feel. And there are some things that aren't looking quite right, that we might want to go in and adjust. We can do that with the advanced edit panel. So by clicking on any one of these, it'll open up just that component in isolation. And we can go ahead and make really specific adjustments that we want to only apply to the specific component and not necessarily the entire component library the way that it did when we were assigning variables. So I'm right here on my button, and let's say actually I want to adjust the padding for this. I want this to be a little bit wider. So let's say 12 and 12. Or maybe we'll do it really big. We'll do 20 and 20. And let's change something else. Let's see, let's give it a border. Let's give it a 3-pixel border of something obvious, this purple color, because we'll see it. As you can see, this is already changing as I'm making the updates. I'm not having to write a single line of code. And when I go back, we can see that every component that uses a button is going to mirror the styles that we just set. So you can go through and customize the nitty-gritty details as much as you like, or you can just set base colors, change your fonts, kind of some high-level stuff. And when you're ready, it's easy. Oh, actually, let me do the share real quick. So assuming I wanted someone else to work with me on this, it's easy enough for me to type in an email address, and I can change and say, well, I want this person to be able to edit, but not necessarily invite other people or change things. Or maybe I just want them to view and tell me that it looks good, but not actually edit the theme itself. I hit the share button. Oh, that is me. So I thought I could get away with using my own email address, and it caught me. But it would work just like that. And assuming I had used a different email address, it would give me a success notification there. When I'm ready to export, all I have to do is hit that export button. It'll think on it, and there's now a file in my downloads. With all of the styles that we just defined. Let's go ahead and open up that zip file. And we can see, let's open up our tokens. There we go. I'll increase the size here a little bit so y'all can see. This is, I think, one of my favorite parts. Not just that it exports the code, which great, easy. This I can just drag and drop into my application files wherever my global CSS is living, and it's going to immediately apply to all of my components. But unlike a lot of other kind of generated or exported CSS, this is so incredibly human readable, right? So when I'm debugging later on, when I'm trying to figure out what's happening or why a style is a certain way, it's not this like crushed, minified block of CSS that I'm going to struggle to parse through. It's incredibly easily understandable, right? And I didn't have to do all this, but if I were to search for a specific variable that I'm trying to troubleshoot or I was trying to apply to one of my components later, I can really easily do that. And I can see, right, all of the variables that I assigned my primary, secondary info are right here. So I'm going to go ahead and kick this back over, stop sharing my screen, and let Stefan carry on. And then I saw some questions that I'm going to get to in the chat. So if you give me just a moment. Let's take a look at some of the questions that came in. Is there a way to theme desktop apps? Somebody asks. My understanding is that right now ThemeBuilder is web application focused. Is that correct, Stefan? Stefan, I think you're on mute.
Yes, currently it covers all of the web components. This includes Kendo UI for jQuery, Angular, Vue, React, Telerik UI for Blazor, MVC, and Core. So currently, at this point, the desktop versions are not supported. But if we hear enough feedback for that, we may do it for the desktops as well. Who knows?
Yeah. There's another question where someone asks, where can I access the master Figma file for component export to ThemeBuilder? That is our Telerik and Kendo Figma kits. So you can find those in the Figma community. They're also, honestly, if you just do like a search on our website or even just Google for Kendo Figma UI kit, you will find it. So those are ours officially, and we have made them to sync with the ThemeBuilder. Somebody asks, can the, oh, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I here just wanted to add that, yes, in the demo, we were showing our Figma kits, but the plugin is working with any Figma design file. You are not required to use our Figma kits. You can use your own Figma projects. It's working with all Figma design styles, not just ours.
That's a really good call out. I'm really glad you mentioned that. Another question, can those small details, padding, border, etc., come from Figma as well, or do I have to assign those in the ThemeBuilder? And no, anything that's been assigned as a design token, is my understanding, can come across from Figma. So things like effects, drop shadows, border radius, typography settings, all of those can come from Figma. I didn't cover all of them in the demo just because we've got limited time today. But yeah, anything that's been set as a Figma design token. Talk through how to get the theme into my actual developed app or project. As you can see, I showed some CSS files there. So you'll get that little dist folder that has, I believe, 3 CSS files that come as part of the export. Literally, you just move those into wherever the global CSS of your application lives. That's it. It's that easy. Are there other design tools you have plans to integrate with, for example, UX Pin? My understanding is not right now. Is that correct?
Yes. At this point, we're focused on Figma, but we do have a feedback portal for the product where you can share any ideas or features or integration that you want to see in the future for the product. You can just go into the feedback portal. It's pretty much, you can type Progress ThemeBuilder feedback portal and it will pop up there. And you can just submit your feature requests. It's completely free. You just work with your account and you can request pretty much anything related to the tool.
Awesome. Someone asks, is ThemeBuilder included in DevCraft Complete? No, I don't believe so. And Stefan will talk about, I believe, pricing in just a moment. So I'm going to put a pin in that one. As someone does note, you can style a desktop app if you built it with something like Blazor Hybrid, which, yes. Let me
yes, that is possible, yes.
I was looking to see if there are any other questions I see here that aren't duplicates to ones that we already answered. Oh, somebody asks a vaguely related question, but I am going to answer it real quick about whether there's a cheat sheet to tell us which Kendo utility classes, like how to use Kendo utility classes. So my team finds it cumbersome to look through Kendo CSS files, find classes, guess what their functions are. We do have actually design system documentation, and I'm going to take this back so I can share my screen real quick to show that. We have a website. Let's see. With our design system documentation, and you can find all sorts of information here. But up here in the top corner, you will find a deep dive on our CSS utilities. So yes, and of course, all of the information. Let me find. I know we have our Figma kit stuff here too for somebody who was asking about that. So our Figma UI kits you can find here at the bottom of our design system documentation as well, a link to that. And all it is just open this in the Figma, in the Figma Community Center and click that Open in Figma button. So last question, and then I will actually hand it over back to you, Stefan. Sorry about that. We had some good ones, and so I wanted to make sure we answered them.
Yeah, that's great.
Someone says, since ThemeBuilder is setting styles on the component itself across the project, can we still customize it in an Angular CSS file of a specific component? And yes, it would work in exactly the same way any other kind of global CSS file would work. So if you wanted to write more specific component scoped styles in your application to overwrite those styles, you totally could. You also can, of course, go edit the exported files if for whatever reason that's something that you need to do. But yeah, because they're exported in plain CSS, you can use them exactly the way you would pretty much any other CSS theming library or system. All right, I'm gonna actually kick it back over to you now, Stefan. Thank you so much for your patience there while I worked through some of our questions.
Oh, it is actually, we'll go back to you because since you were asking questions, like you were answering questions, I think you have one more question to ask. So
good catch.
I actually, yeah.
Yep. So we did want to know from that demo what the most interesting feature to you was, what your favorite feature might be. So I'll go ahead and launch that poll, and I'll leave that open for about a minute. And if you guys want to tell us which part of that demo seemed like something you'd be most interested in using, we would love to hear back. So some of the options we have: atomic customizations, custom variables, Figma support, collaboration, saving and sharing, and of course, other, which drop it in the chat. You know the deal. Starting to see numbers come in. Atomic customizations in the lead. Figma support and collaboration pretty closely tied. Give that another 10 seconds or so. Let everyone have a chance to respond. What about you, Stefan? What's your favorite feature of the ThemeBuilder?
I can say that pretty much all of them are my favorite, but that's not a good thing. Like you're not asking for that. For me, it's actually the Figma integration because, and we want to also improve on that because we know that Figma is also working in a way to let more developers go into Figma, so it makes it more developer friendly. And we, on the developer side, also want to make it more friendly for designers. So pretty much they're doing their part to make these communities together. And we also want to do our part to make designers feel more welcome into tools that are mainly done for developers. So I think this is the reason, just making more collaboration between the two units.
Nice, I agree. And so does a fair chunk of our poll respondents. Atomic customization still there at the top at 45%, but custom variables, Figma support, and collaboration all kind of within a hair's breadth of each other there. So very cool. Thank you guys so much for responding to our polls.
Yes, thank you. This is very helpful for us, and we know also to which features to spend more time improving and make them better and better into the upcoming months. And when I mentioned the upcoming months, I want to just share just a few sneak peeks exclusively for the people that are on a webinar. This is something that is not have been publicly made available for on our roadmap. These are some of the things that we are working and are coming later this year, very soon actually for some of them. It's the first thing, it's component variants. And what this is, it's allow you to make different styling versions of the same component. For example, you want to have 5 different buttons or 2 different data grids for specific pages. So let's say on one page, you want your grid to be styled in one way, and on the second page, you want to have it styled in a slightly different way. So you can make component variants. And the good thing is that you can make a variant of a variant. So it can inherit the styles that you have already done for that component. So you don't have to go and start from scratch. And the other thing that also complement this thing, it's project modes. So currently you have your project and you can style it in a different way. But with the project modes, you can have a different version of the same project. So for example, you want to do white mode or dark mode for the same application, and you have to just change a couple of colors, but you don't want to do all of the other stylings again. So you can go and switch to dark mode or white mode or a different mode, just and customize a couple of colors or a couple of metrics, because the project modes will be available for both colors and metrics. So for example, you want to do a compact mode for your application, or a specific mode that is centered to mobile applications, where we know that most of the components should be a little bit bigger, so they're easier to see and interact on the mobile devices. You can have that interactions built into the same project, and you can seamlessly switch between them. This is something that we heard our customers want a lot. Currently, they pretty much have to go and duplicate the project, but now we can give you all of that into one project with seamless integrations. And of course, we're just adding more and more components. We have planned to add 10 more components for atomic customization. You pretty much tell us that atomic customization is your best feature that you want. So we want to keep improving them and adding more and more components for atomic customization into the ThemeBuilder. And since some of you have asked about the ThemeBuilder, is it part of the DevCraft bundle? Currently is not. It's a standalone product that you can buy separately depending on your needs. We have made different tiers, so everyone gets exactly what they need, because we know that for every project, for every team, for every company, their styling needs are different. So that's why we have made different tiers, so you get only what you need, not everything. So we have a free tier. Everybody that has a Telerik account can just go into the ThemeBuilder, log in, and start using it. You don't need to make any specific extra registrations on everything. It's just work with your current Telerik account. You can do a couple of projects. You can edit the built-in variables and customize some of the pre-built swatches. For the Pro, Ultimate, and Enterprise tiers, I'll pretty much go feature by features very fast. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but the main difference are the support levels. With the Ultimate and Enterprise level, you have priority and Ultimate support, pretty much ability to get answers within 24 hours, or even make a remote session with our engineering team, where they can, with Teams meeting with you, and just go over your styling issues that you may have. Also, in terms of projects, with the free tier, you have a maximum of 1 project. With the Pro tier, you have a maximum of 3, but that's 3 active at the same time. For example, if you have created 3 projects, but you are not going to use one of them and you deleted them, you can create another one. So it's not 3, like in total, it's 3 at the same time. And this doesn't include the shared projects. So only the projects you created. So your teammates can share multiple unlimited projects with you. This is just limited to how many projects you can create. And of course, with the Ultimate and Enterprise tiers, We know that these are usually companies that work on multiple projects, so you have unlimited projects that you can do. Another thing that we actually didn't mention in the demo, but it's a great feature of the ThemeBuilder, it's the ability to update to the next theme version. As many of you know, with the new versions of the component, sometimes we make rendering changes. We are changing some classes, we are changing something into the HTML, pretty much to allow us to add new features, improve accessibility, keyboard navigation, etc. But that is actually breaking your existing styles sometimes. So we do have a feature that will just automatically go and update it. It will check the changes into the rendering, it will check the changes into the variables names, and just automatically converts all of that to the new version, so you don't spend any time updating. The automatic version of this is available in the Ultimate and Enterprise, and into the free and the Pro version, you do have to do it, but it's a manual way. It's still inside the tool. You don't have to go and write CSS, but we'll just update the styles without handling the conflicts between the versions. And here we'll automatically handle the conflicts as well. All versions can edit the built-in themes. All versions can access the swatches, typography, custom theme variables, advanced customizations, or atomic customization, project sharing. All of this is available in all of the Pro, Ultimate, and Enterprise tiers. The Figma import is available only the Ultimate and the Enterprise tiers. And the user access rights and SSO rights are only available in Enterprise, because we know that usually enterprise companies are the ones that want to have more restrictions in terms of who can access what and can edit what. The good thing is that all of this is available into the our trial version. It's you can just go and directly start the trial inside the tool. You don't have to go into any specific process. We don't ask for credit card information or anything. You can just go into the tool, click a button, start trial, and you can experience all of these features for free for the next 7 days. The good thing is that the projects that you have created during the trial, all of them are available after the trial as well. You just cannot go and do atomic customizations to the components, but all of the changes that you already did during the trials are just available for you. And with that, like I said, the next steps for you are to go and create a trial if you want. Like I said, they're completely free. You can just sign in, get started, no obligation, nothing. You can just go and experience the tool. Or if you want to know more details, or you want to schedule a specific private demo where you can talk with me or the engineers for some specific cases that we just didn't have time to cover into the demo, you can just contact your sales representative, and you can have a discovery call with them or with me, and proceed from there. And with that, I want to thank you for your time attending this webinar. And I want to give the word to Kathryn for a few closing words. If Kathryn, do you want to, let's say, answer a few questions if they popped up in the last minute or something?
That was exactly what I was hoping to do, in fact. So there are a few more. We have folks in here answering your questions in chat, but some of them were really good or common questions that I saw pop up a couple times. So I want to go ahead and address them here as well. Some folks have asked what versions of Kendo the ThemeBuilder is compatible with. And it's my understanding that any of the last versions, or any of the versions that have come out within the last year, correct?
Yes, starting from
support.
September last year. Yeah.
Yep. One that, again, a couple folks have asked is, can you create one styling project and then export CSS files to use in multiple web applications? And yes, in fact, I think that's one of the coolest things, especially if you have projects that are using multiple versions, right? So if I have a Kendo React project and a Kendo UI for Angular project, I can export those styles and I can keep things looking visually consistent across the entire kind of suite of my applications. As long as they're all using Kendo and we've styled them in ThemeBuilder, it's going to be a completely unified experience for your users, which is just really nice. Let's see what else. Someone says, is this available today? Yes, absolutely. you can get this right now. Some others. Someone asks about upgrading themes if you upgrade components, and there is a migration, an automatic migration feature built in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if you want to jump in on that a little more, Stefan.
Yes. This was actually one of the features that I mentioned at the migration of the themes you have. Depending on your tier, you have options to pretty much redo everything automatically for you, and the other option is you may need to do something manually, but you may not. It depends on the type of changes. In some cases, we can pretty much migrate everything.
Awesome. All right, I think that covers some of the most common questions that we saw pop up in the last few minutes. So on that note, if you have any other questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. You can shoot me an email, Kathryn.Nanz@progress.com. Or of course, you can reach out to any of our support staff who would be super happy to answer your questions. And of course, a sales rep who can absolutely speak to you about any specific implementation questions that you might have and how this might work with the system that you already have. So on that note, thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you found this informative and exciting, and we will see you at the next Progress webinar. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, everyone.